All right, guys, we are back in my garage for another video. And see, already forgot stuff. All right, guys, we are back in my garage for another video. And today we are going to be taking a look at the new Blackvue Elite 8 dash cam. This is their latest drop. A lot of people were excited to see this, but I think there was also some confusion because one of the biggest changes is the dash cam has 2K front video and 2K rear video. And if you have one of their older flagship dash cams, then you know that those all film 4K front, but 1080p rear. So it's an interesting change to switch to 2K front and rear. And the question to me was, one, how does it actually compare? Is 2K compared to 4K that big of a difference? And also from the HDR upgrades and other software changes they made, does that actually make a difference in daily use? So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at this dash cam, do some comparison shots, and hopefully this will help you guys decide if this dash cam is worth the upgrade. Also keep in mind, my Blackvue link will be in the video description. So if you use my coupon code KERN417, it will take 10% off of your order of an Elite 8 dash cam or any other Blackvue dash cam or accessory on the website so that you can set your car up to be safe with the additional security of the Blackvue equipment. So let's go ahead and talk about these dash cams, and hopefully you guys find this video useful.
Now, as always, for everybody that's new to the channel, I create these videos to help keep you updated on the latest developments in our community, as well as discuss technical topics so that we have a better understanding of how our engines work. So if you're interested in more videos like that, be sure to subscribe because there will be a lot more coming out in the future.
All right, so let's go ahead and unbox the new Blackvue Elite 8 dash cam. As you can see here, their main selling point is dual 2K cameras and dual HDR technology. So basically both the front and the rear dash cam will get the same quality video. Now, first initial impressions, just looking at the box, is it's completely different compared to the boxes I've got on previous Blackvue dash cams. They just usually have them in the regular cardboard finish, so this definitely is a unique look that I guess they're starting with their newer line of dash cams. But anyway, let's go ahead and open this up and see what is inside. So we've got some materials here, or I guess just like a cover, and then here are the two dash cams. So the first one for the front, in here pretty tight. So here's the first one. And as you can see, pretty similar form factor to what we're used to. It has, of course, the 2K Quad HD label on top, so you know the quality of this camera. Looks like the pretty typical mount, and everything on the sides is pretty comparable to what we're used to. Now I also have my 970X, so as you can see, the big difference is you're going from a 4K dash cam to a 2K compared to the 970. Compared to the 770, this one is higher quality because the 770 is only 1080p, but compared to their old flagship, this one has a lower resolution, so we'll see if that makes a difference in our testing. Also, we kind of lose that little ring. It goes from that bronze look to this black look. So a little bit different there. And on the back, it's the same thing. We had that bronze kind of detail around the lights, and now it's just black. And they actually function the same, even though the labeling on the rightmost LED is different. Now it just says the A and C versus the Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, LTE connectivity, but it's still basically the light for connecting to the dash cam to indicate you're connected to it wirelessly. Now on this side, we've got the same touch sensor, so that's how you can do manual recording if you want to. And then on this side, I'm surprised they actually changed this, but I think it makes a little bit of sense. They used to use the format button, and now it's a power on off button. So I guess if you want to quickly reset your dash cam, you can do that by long pressing the power button. I never really liked this format button on here. I always felt like I might hit it by mistake, and I didn't really see a use for it, but I probably won't use the power button either. So, you know, they changed the functionality there, but otherwise it's pretty much the same. Then you can see the power, the rear camera, and the USB are all the same connection. So this should be generally a plug and play upgrade if you've already got a Blackvue dash cam set up. And then yeah, the top and the bottom both look pretty much the same with these little vent holes. So we'll see how this works once we actually get it into the car, but that's kind of the exterior of the front camera. And then for the rear, this is where the big difference is. So now we've got a 2K rear dash cam. So compared to, again, my 970X, it looks pretty similar, except of course the front lens is much bigger because they're using the bigger sensor that has the higher resolution. And then of course this one is 1080p, even with the flagship 970X. And on the Elite 8, we're going up to 2K on the rear camera. So regardless of the dash cam that you have from Blackvue, this is the first one, at least that I know of, that has 2K rear video. So the rear is definitely going to be an upgrade no matter what. And now we've also got the HDR in the rear as well. Now I'm pretty sure, even though these are a different diameter, it'll still fit. Let's see. We'll pull this one out of the mount. Let's see, does the 970 fit? Nope. So for the rear, you're definitely going to have to swap the mount and the camera. But for the front cams, it should be plug and play because it'll mount in the same location. So we'll be swapping the mount on here, and then the connections are the same. So you won't have to run new wires, but you will have to replace the mount if you're going from a 770 or 970 to the Elite 8. So just keep that in mind as well. Now in the box, we also have some differences, which I was surprised to see. So of course we've got the manual and we've got some wires, but it does not come with a hardwire kit anymore. That was something that was kind of disappointing. I won't have to do anything on mine because I'm still going to be using the existing hardwiring that I have installed. But if you don't have it, then I guess you're going to have to buy the hardwire kit separately. So it comes with the wire to connect the front to the rear camera, and then it comes with a wire that plugs into this AC outlet adapter. So you plug this into your cigarette lighter, and then you can plug in your dash cam to one of the USB connections, and then you have a second USB connection that you can use to charge your phone or whatever. Convenient, but most people that I know would prefer to have this hardwired, and it's disappointing that it doesn't come in the kit anymore. I guess this is kind of like cell phones not coming with their chargers anymore. But yeah, again, just something to keep in mind. If you already have an existing installation, then you should just be able to use the existing wires, which is probably what they were thinking. A lot of people won't need it. But if this is your first dash cam and you want to hardwire it, you'll have to buy the hardwire kit separately. Actually, thinking about it, the other thing is if you're using the battery pack and you want it to use the parking mode and the maximum charging and everything, I guess you kind of use this connection anyway, because this plugs into the adapter that plugs into like the B130X battery pack. So maybe that's what they're leaning towards. Like they're assuming that this will maybe motivate people to buy the battery pack, and then this is what plugs in to get the most use out of it versus the regular hardwire kit. But in my car that I'm going to do the testing on, I don't have a battery pack on it. So I'm just going to use the existing hardwire kit that's already installed. Anyway, yeah, just for your awareness.
All right, so we finished up and got everything installed on my car. I've got the 970X right next to the Elite 8 dash cam so we can get some front and rear footage to see how this compares. Now, I do want to highlight somewhere during all the handling, I must have put my finger on the actual 970X lens. So it seems like it got smudged or something. And I didn't realize until days later I was going through the footage and saw that it was kind of blurry where it shouldn't have been. So I apologize for that. But I still think that the footage kind of speaks for itself. So I think the footage during the day is pretty typical. This is probably the easiest time that the dash cams have, filming where there's good daylight and everything outside. But once you start looking at the details, I think that it's easier to see the difference here. So of course, with the 970X, as you're passing by cars, you're able to see a little more detail on the license plates, which is kind of what we focus on, because if the worst were to happen and you were in like a hit or run or something like that, you want to be able to identify the car by the license plate and the details of the vehicle. So if you're looking at this, you can see that on the Elite 8, it's just a lot more blurry. Granted, this is a pretty significant speed difference. It's probably like 30 or 40 miles an hour,
but that is something that is noticeable between the two that, in my opinion, pretty much confirms what we already thought. The 4K definitely has a pretty significant advantage compared to the 2K video resolution. Now here's another example where you can see on the 970X and the Elite 8, they have no issue picking up license plate details on a stationary car. So if you had like a low speed impact or problem, it shouldn't have a problem picking up the license plate details. But if you look at the cars passing by, again, you can see more blur on the license plate, more blur on the car itself. The license plate sometimes almost completely disappears on the Elite 8 depending on the speed difference. So again, that just highlights that there definitely is a difference between the 4K and 2K dash cams that software can't compensate for. But what I did like to see is that the HDR seemed to be much better on the Elite 8. And you can definitely see that in the clouds. I know that was a big change they made on the 970X front dash cam to make sure that it could pick up license plates at night and stuff and not get blown out. But here, I'm not sure if it's due to the smudge, like I said, on the lens or something, but it looks a lot better on the Elite 8. I also know there is a firmware and software update coming out for the 970X that might make it more comparable. But in this case, it looked like the Elite 8 just got a lot more detail and a lot more vibrant colors compared to what my 970X was showing. Now at night, it's a pretty similar story. On my 970X, the camera is pretty clear. You're able to see the details of the car and kind of make out what the vehicles are. Some of the license plates do get blurry again, especially when there's a speed difference. But on the Elite 8, unfortunately, everything's just worse. You can see the car is more blurry. You can see the license plate is harder to read. And in a lot of cases like this, even if you can't see the license plate, you at least want to be able to make out the make and the model of the vehicle. And that's significantly harder with the Elite 8. I think the HDR is still giving it a nice advantage at night because you can see some of the license plates are easier to read on the Elite 8 compared to the 970X. But it's still not quite as clear and detailed as the 970X is showing. I think the Elite 8 also shows the colors again a lot more vibrant. You can kind of see on the lights where it seems to be a little more accurate on the Elite 8. I think the 970X kind of tries to brighten things up, but the Elite 8 seems to be a little more accurate. So again, I'm hoping that this updated firmware and software for the 970X will bring those same features to the 970X, because I think we definitely want to take advantage of the 4K video, but we want that updated color correction and software to make the video colors as accurate as possible in the day or the nighttime. Like here, you can see on the 970X, the headlights are a little bit more dull and orange, but on the Elite 8, they're kind of these bright, vibrant LEDs. And again, I remember it being pretty bright. A lot of these newer Lexuses and stuff have really high quality headlights. So you can see on this car, as you can see on the Elite 8 footage, it's a lot more accurate to the true color than what the 970X is showing. So I think overall, both dash cams are good, especially if you have like a 770X or a mid-range dash cam. It's pretty much a no-brainer to upgrade to the Elite 8. The 2K front and 2K rear will be higher resolution and better quality with the updated HDR software compared to a 1080p front and rear dash cam. Now, if you have a 970X, it's probably not worth the upgrade. The 4K front video is hard to switch from. It's just such high quality. I think the rear dash cam switching to 2K was a nice touch, but it's just not as useful for a lot of people, especially because if you get rear-ended or something like that, there's no real guarantee that the car even has a front license plate. It does give you more information, but it's not as critical as the front camera, which is why I think they usually go with a higher quality front camera. I also think a part of the balance between the two is to manage your SD card memory. If you have two 4K video cameras, it uses a lot more space, which means you can't store as much data and as many video clips on the actual dash cam. Now, I will say a couple things. One is the Elite 8 does download videos a lot faster. I think it's more than just being a 2K video compared to 4K, because even the rear camera compared to front and rear downloads much faster. And that seems to be due to the updated Wi-Fi technology that they're able to use 5 gigahertz. So it just downloads a lot more quickly. I wish my 970X was able to download that fast. The other thing is they have that updated parking mode, which allows the car to only record when it senses an impact. And that apparently can allow you to stay in parking mode for up to 30 days. I think it's a nice thought, but I think I much prefer having the buffered recording, because without that, you're not going to know exactly what happened before the impact all you're going to have is the footage after the impact. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to test that in my car because when it's plugged up to the AC power, it doesn't enable parking mode, but you can kind of imagine how that works. So they're still able to do the other parking mode where it just does time lapse or motion sensitive. That's what I use. But if you do want to enable the super long parking mode, if you're going to be parked somewhere for weeks at a time or whatever, then yes, this does enable that capability. Just keep in mind, you lose the buffered recording, so you won't see what's leading up to the impact, only what happens after the dash cam is triggered and starts recording after the impact. So again, kind of a balance, just something to consider depending on how you use your dash cam. So yeah, I'm gonna be keeping my 970X for now. I'll probably either put the Elite 8 in another car or just do a giveaway on my Patreon. But for now, I think I'm gonna stick with what I know, and hopefully there is another version of the Elite 8 coming out that has 4K front video. I think that's what a lot of people are waiting on. So again, I will have my Blackvue link in the video description in case you guys want to place an order and use my discount code to get 10% off anything on the Blackvue website. And I think that's it for this video. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope this helps. And if you have any other questions or comments, leave them down below.